friends to the Unseen Realm. I'm Selwyn, and it's been a while since I've made a video. Life gets busy. I really love making these videos, but I don't get the time, unfortunately. But recently I was listening to a song on the radio, and I was really caught by the melody, and so I went and had a look at it on YouTube. Wow, I was horrified what I saw, and I realized that 99% of people are going to have no idea what these people making the video are actually trying to reveal in the layers behind the video. And speaking about layers, I just recently went to buy a chicken nugget meal for my little baby at Hungry Jack's this time. I know I've done some videos about McDonald's and some of the toys that they give them, but this was interesting. This little silhouette cutout of a boy came in the package. And I opened it up and thought, oh, that's interesting. You can't really do much with it, but I realized it was a clip-in. And when you actually open it up, there's a little silhouette behind it of the same image, except the rebel version of the little boy. Isn't that interesting? How it fits behind, you can't see it until you clip it out, and there's the rebel within. So I just wanted to show that up to the camera. And I think it leads into the video today that I'm going to show you. I'm going to talk through it. It really reveals a lot about satanic ritual abuse that people don't talk about, people don't know about, and even when you tell people, they actually don't want to know about it. Or it's a little bit too over the top that it's hard for them to believe. But it's really sad what these people are doing through social media. There's so much deception in the world today. And I'm going to go through this video, talk you through it, just to expose it. My goal today is that when people watch music videos, and especially some of the artists that are really out there pushing the boundaries when it comes to morality, just to pay attention more to the imagery, the symbolism in the videos. And you might say to me, Sel, okay, so what? So what about the silhouette? Well, the problem is, whether it's movies, music, this generation of our young people are being taught that it's okay to be a rebel. It's okay to resist authority. It's okay not to submit to authority. Maybe you can call me old school, but I was one of those people that did submit to my elders or to those in authority over me. And I had this concept that I believed as a young person in my career, especially my early 20s. I thought, what? These people that are my bosses, I don't always like what they tell me to do, but I thought, what? I don't have a lot of experience and I can learn a lot from them. So I really sucked in and absorbed everything I could learn from the older people that were in my industry. And then what people don't realize is one day you're going to become a boss, you're going to become a manager. And for those of you that run companies, run business or are managers, there's nothing worse than employing someone who's unteachable. So that's the generation that the social media is raising up. So I look forward to talking to everyone soon. What have I been up to? Just ministering to people every day from all walks of life, from all over the world. And a lot of people reaching out for help. So I'm very privileged, and Jesus Christ gets all the praise and glory. And I just wanted to present this video, and I'll see you on the other side. So when you work as an exorcist in the ministry of deliverance, at some point you're going to come across the paths of survivors of satanic ritual abuse. Now, the average person out there has no idea about this. They might have heard the term before, and they've seen cults on the news or in documentaries, but it's not in their everyday thoughts until you're actually working in this area of ministry and you come across people that have such outlandish claims that they've been involved in as victims that it's actually difficult to believe. However, that is one of the worst forms of torment that someone that's come out of ritual abuse can be exposed to. Someone who calls themselves a therapist or minister of deliverance and questions whether they're telling the truth. My position on that is I believe them absolutely immediately, and then we work through the details after that. And if it's all psychological illusion, then that's what will present itself in a very short space of time. But working with these kind of people, and I truly believe that God loves these kinds of people, and because of what they've been through. Because Jesus suffered, but he suffered for the redemption of mankind. And these people that have been through ritual abuse and have been born into cults don't deserve what's happened to them. They don't deserve it. And in fact, to some point, the average population wouldn't want to know about this, because it will bring conviction to their lives. That our complaints are minuscule compared to what these people go through. So I've been very privileged to work with people that have come out of this. Survivors is what they're called. And I've put up 2 music videos here that I'm going to just talk through them a little bit, because when you work with these kind of people, and then you just happen to be watching a music video one day, you start to recognize some very sinister, deceptive imagery and symbolism hidden in these videos that the average person won't see. And if you tell some people, they'll just say, oh, look, that's probably just role play, or it's just acting for the purpose of stirring up people's emotions. Well, no, actually it's not. So I'm going to just go through this first video. I'm not going to give the names of the artists, because I don't want to promote them, because I believe what they're doing is evil. I don't even believe they actually realize what they've sold themselves into. But people get completely blindsided by power, fame, and fortune. And that's why they sell their souls. And all they are is just slaves to a higher system. This first image, you see the mask. Okay, we're going to start getting into this video now. And what I want to bring your attention back to was a movie by Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman called Eyes Wide Shut. And I think it was Oliver Stone, who was the director of the movie, that was pretty much exposing the secret world behind Hollywood. And they were all wearing masks at these dark parties. Obviously, he couldn't show what actually goes on. But yeah, we have a similar thing. Now, what I understand about satanic ritual is that when they arrive at the ritual site, people are hidden, no one's faces are exposed, they all wear masks, they all wear robes. And so, yeah, we see the beginning of a ritual ceremony in this video. We see now the main character. You'll see in the room as we go along, everybody's in masks. But here's the main character. But if you know this artist, this isn't what he really looks like. He's had makeup to change his face, to make himself look more inhuman. He's had his mouth made to look almost like the Joker. So clearly he's representing something that's inhuman. The red suit has a lot of significance. It always represents the devil. And as you watch, you can see his face is really very seductive, which is really at the core of a lot of this kind of cult activity. Sexual promiscuity is a very strong part of their ritual ceremonies. Now you're going to see the backdrop, which looks like a shrine. It's very dark, and you can see people sitting at the tables with their masks on, so no one's identified. And this is typical of cult behavior. Even in Freemasonry, all the ceremonies, the degrees that people go through, nobody knows what they do. All the oaths they take, nobody knows. Nobody knows what goes on behind closed doors. And it just reminds me of how transparent the church actually is. It's not very often that you see in the news that Grand Master of Masonic Lodge gets caught for doing illegal activity or sexual behavior and gets pulled through the courts. You never see that. But you do see pastors getting pulled through the courts. And that's another example of the transparency of Christianity. And that's because the leader, who is Jesus Christ, has it that way. That even if his trusted men step out of line and are unrepentant, God exposes them himself and he hands them over. There are no secrets with the church. Any secrets that do go on usually are exposed, and the world absolutely loves it when they can point the finger at the church. Yeah, you see the bass player, the black painted nails. So you start to see some of the signs of what's behind all of this. You see a flash of 3 or 4 masks here that are clearly based on some ancient images of people in history. I'm still trying to research out and find out who those masks represent, because I think it will be really important about what it represents behind the meaning of this video. And before I show the next part of this video, I just want you to know that I'm not supportive of what these images show. And the only reason I'm showing this is because I want to awaken people. So yeah, you see him simulating that he's urinating on this woman. And the reason why they're showing this is because in satanic ritual abuse, this is very common with the way they humiliate the people that they are initiating. They urinate on them. They cover them with feces mixed with blood. I know this is not nice stuff to hear, but I'm actually tired of knowing this and not being able to tell anybody. So at least I have a video here now to really explain what I know. So in this next scene, you can see he's doing the same thing except on a man's face. However, the trajectory of the liquid coming onto the man's face is not the same as before. And I'll leave that up to your imagination as to what they're actually representing here. But I will say this. In these ritual ceremonies, they use feces, urine, semen, and anything that is abhorrent to a normal person. Now, to give meaning to what I was just trying to describe without being crude, this next part of the image will explain that to you, what he's actually representing here. However, on its own, people could say, well, yeah, he's just trying to be perverse. But the thing is, there are so many different leads on this. There are so many meanings as he's trying to explain the process that goes on in these rituals. Now, he's drinking out of the same bottle that all this came out of. So I'll leave that up to your imagination too.
The eye is attached to the horn god, but look at where the eye starts, from the waist down. That's where the apron of a mason begins. And the one eye of Freemasonry is also the one eye of the penis, where life generates and springs forth. See the openly hidden secret of the Masonic square and compass now? You're looking at the sex act. That's the female in missionary position, and that's the male mounting her. The sex act. And the eye in the middle, with these emanating rays, is the orgasm and the ejaculation of the penis. See life shooting forth. That's how they see the sun and the earth too. The sun is the visible penis of their true God, shooting forth life continually. The light itself is the mystical sperm of the God of this world. The sun and penis generate life, while the earth and female womb produce life. The letter G, when replacing the I in the middle of the square and compass, stands for generation, sexual generation. The practical aspect of Freemasonry and Satanism's religion is that of a sex cult.
And he spits it out. So why does he do that? Now you're going to see him with the golden goblet. He has another very important point in ritual ceremonial practices. They will mix blood and they will drink it out of these golden chalices. And so this is telling you another part of the ceremony. This would be after they've done the sacrifice. Now as the camera zooms over to this table, I'm going to explain to you what I believe this is. You seeing the girl, which in real life will be a child. But they can't do that on this video because people will start to find out what they're actually trying to say. So they've got a young woman here instead of a child. And on her left is the guy in the red mask. And on her right, I believe, is the spirit of death. So you've got Lucifer sitting behind her. You've got the spirit of death on the right of her. And you've got the person that they're going to force to do the sacrifice. Because this is what they do with their initiates. They want to initiate them and promote them in the cult as the chosen child who's going to continue the tradition and the bloodline of the elites. And so that's the image you're seeing right now. And as the spotlight is shone on her, she's the chosen one. And she will be forced either of her own free will or guided through the executioner to perform the sacrifice. Now you're going to see the seduction of her handler, the person that's going to show her a sign in the form of mind control. And you see behind his back he's got the gun. So she doesn't know what she's meant to do. It's all deception. As soon as she sees the gun, do you notice that his hands are on her hands on the gun? So this has been well written in many books on the subject of satanic ritual abuse. The executioner will put his hands with black gloves around the child's hands and will guide her into completing the sacrifice by force. And their ultimate goal, at some point, as they've destroyed all humanity in that child, any empathy, any compassion, and any love, that's their goal, is to destroy every part of that, so that that child chooses of their own free will to become the executioner. Now you're going to see the shrine, and now it's red. And the reason why it's red is because blood has been shed. From this point onwards, you won't see the girl again. My guess is two things could have happened. Either she refused to do it and she was severely punished because of it, or she was sacrificed, because the shrine in the beginning never had red. Now it's red. That means the blood has been shed. And just watch the way he rises and the way the camera did it this way. This video promotes suicide, it promotes murder, it promotes death. There's such a strong spirit of deception in the world now. You know, Jesus actually said this in Matthew chapter 24, and I often say this. The disciples said, "What will be the sign of your return?" And he said, "Be not deceived, for many will come in my name." So he warned of great deception to come. So guys, I want you to go out there with vigilance, with wisdom, and just some new knowledge. So you can, when you're looking at stuff, you can think about what are the layers behind it. So bless you all now. I hope you all have a good week.